What's up? It's Mark Battles, and you are now watching Mikey's Untitled Music Show. Yeah.
Welcome to Mikey's Untitled Music Show, guys. Today, we're going to get into the musical mind of hip hop artist Mark Battles. How you doing today, Mark?
I'm doing all right, man. Blessed. Another day.
Bless.
Grateful.
That's right, man. We woke up today. That's all we can really ask for is we get to wake up today, right?
Absolutely.
Mark just came out from his tour. That was called My Brother's Keeper. It was at the same tour.
Yep.
Yep, I was able to catch a show
Yeah.
in San Diego
Yeah.
at the soda bar, bro.
Mm.
So much energy in that room that night, man. So much freaking energy. It was crazy. Like
Yeah.
it's a smaller venue, and
Right.
it's the first time I had actually been to that venue.
Yeah.
Um, but man, just everybody that was there just brought it, bro.
Yeah.
Like everybody in the crowd and
Right.
all the performers also
Right.
like you had well, who I remember, we had Larry Coleman on that
Yeah.
show,
Yeah.
Teddy Smoke,
Yeah.
and Be Different.
Be different. Yeah.
Um, and Be Different, he's coming up, man,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see all these like up and coming, or maybe not even up and coming, but all these different rap artists, man. It was really good. I was really blessed. Thank you so much for inviting me. Appreciate it. Um,
Absolutely.
But after a tour like that, bro, like you just got home, you said you just got
Yeah.
home. So
Yeah.
what's like the wind down? Like what do you do to try to get back at it?
Um, I mean, for me, my story is I don't want to say it's everybody feels like their story is different, but like I've never done anything else. So my entire adulthood has been spent in the music industry. So like I've never had a job. I've never done anything else besides when I was a teenager. I had the hoop dreams and that was a big part of my life, but like this is all I've ever done. So there's no real like wind down for me. Like this is all I know. So it's just like living and breathing for me. So even though I miss my family when I'm gone, and I miss sleeping in my own bed and stuff like that. But man, I get home and it's right back to it, bro. Nothing changes.
That's cool, man.
Yeah,
Um, like you like after all this time, like you still have that drive, like to just
right.
keep on and keeping on. And man,
I got it more now than ever.
yeah.
It's only increasing, man. Like when you feel like you've been slept on, you feel like the world still ain't got to experience you at the level that you want them to experience you. That hunger just continues to grow. My appetite is bigger, bro. It's not going in reverse.
It's awesome. So let's start from the beginning. Mark, do you remember one of the earliest times that you remember, or I'm sorry, like yeah, one of the times where you use your musical creativity, um, like yeah, like when you were younger, like maybe you played an instrument, a different kind of instrument, maybe did something different like that. Like where was your musical start?
Start. Like the start is always a layered question for me because I feel like there's multiple things that can contribute to what you consider the start of it.
Hmm.
Because it can be something that wasn't directly related to me rapping, but it played a big role in me finding music and falling in love with music. So I don't know if I can pinpoint a start, but I can pinpoint key moments in my life that made me feel like I wanted to perform. And I remember being like 7, 8 years old with some sunglasses, and I don't know why. When I got these sunglasses, it made me feel like I was a star. So I put the sunglasses on and I gathered my family up. I think we was at my cousin Kim's house, but my whole family was there for some reason. I went around the house and in the backyard and gathered everybody up, and I told them at 3 o'clock I was gonna have a performance, and everybody sat in the living room, and gathered around. I had no idea what I was gonna do. I just knew I was gonna start with my back facing the crowd and slide my sunglasses on my face, and I was gonna turn around and I was gonna entertain. That was the
Oh,
only
yeah.
plan. Yeah, so I used to do stuff like that a lot, man. I really did.
No, that's awesome. Like, when I was younger, right, well, we grew up in the church, but every time we had like a play or like a talent show or something, I was always like, I want to do
Right.
something, I want to do something. Pretty much
Yeah.
until I got like a teenager, and then I was too cool to do anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I remember I had this. It was 2001. I was like 10 or 11.
Hmm.
There was one talent show where it was three kids doing like a rap song, and then um like one of my friends who was doing it was like, "Hey, you want to do it also?" And
Right.
I was like, "Yeah, heck yeah, like I'll do it."
Right.
And the whole thing that it was like I remember doing like a little freestyle because nobody wanted to like really do anything else. We still had like a minute and a half left on the song or something.
Right.
So I did like a little freestyle. It was cool, man.
Right.
I used to be all up in that stuff. So that's just kind of unlocking a little bit of memories for me, to be honest.
Absolutely. Yeah. I had a
Um,
lot of those, bro.
yeah, when did you start like either writing or, start rapping?
Um, I started writing, I would say, actually, yeah, I was 13. So I started writing when I was 13. My older brother rapped, and he really encouraged me to start writing it down. I think I was freestyling a little bit because the way my writing started, it's a good story. To me, it's a good story. So
Mhm.
I'm in choir class. He was forced to take choir. Of course, I'm in there, the cool kid, feeling like, oh, choir's boring. Why am I in choir? And somehow, some way, a rap battle between me and another kid was it was like it was being pushed. And the music teacher was like, yo, someone come down here and show their talent. The rest of the students in the class was like, Mark and Tukey won a battle. I had never rapped ever in my life, so I loved rap. So the students were pushing a rap battle between me and this kid named Tukey, and the music teacher was telling us like, somebody come perform, somebody come down here and show their talents. And I had never rapped before. I loved rap. I loved listening to my brother rap and his music, but personally, I hadn't rapped. And I went down there, and they was like, go, go. And they kind of started like a little beat for us. And I'll never forget the first lines that I ever rapped. And it was against him. And it was the cheesiest, corniest shit ever. But he it got a reaction. And all I
Mhm.
said was, why are you trying to flow when your teeth glow? And everybody, oh. And then I was like, you a rookie, I'm a vet. That's why you look like a diseased chia pet. Oh, everybody's going crazy. And that reaction, when I got that reaction, I was addicted. And
Yeah.
I went home that day. I started writing raps, writing battle raps, just in case I got into another battle. I started freestyling, getting really good at freestyling. And but that's how my writing journey started, bro. I was in the seventh grade.
Damn, that's funny. That's awesome, dude. Like,
Yeah.
and just something just like is born inside of you, right? It's like y- you got that reaction, you got that feeling, and it
Right.
just it just took over.
Yeah.
That's that's cool, man. Like I love hearing things like that. I love hearing
Right.
things like like especially like you guys' story, like because I would have never thought that. I would have never known that,
Right.
you know, in your
I
life or
don't
anything.
think I've ever told that story before. I think this is the first interview that I've ever even brought that up on. So
Oh hell
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. No,
Yeah.
and it's cool because like those like those memories get unlocked, like I said earlier, like,
Right.
and it's just yeah, that's funny, man. That's
Right.
funny. You said your brother used to rap.
Yeah.
Um, was the like how long was he rapping before you were like, oh man, like that's really cool, or like was
Right.
he like a really big influence?
Huge. The biggest influence. So it's interesting because he's my half brother. So he's my father's son,
Hmm.
but I don't know my father. I don't have a relationship with my father. And my relationship with my brother didn't start until right around that time that I started rapping. So he was in the military. He was like 19 years old, maybe 20 years old.
Hmm.
And when he got out the military, he took it upon himself to come find us. So, he knew that my father wasn't in our life. And he has a relationship with my father, but he wanted a relationship with us. And
Yeah.
he just knocked on the door one day, and I knew it was him. I had seen him when I was a younger kid, maybe 2, 3 years old, 4 years old. And I always wanted a relationship with him. But like, as soon as we opened the door and I saw him, it was you know, like that day was one of the most impactful days of my life. And on that day, he rapped. We talked about a bunch of stuff. He talked about life in the military. He talked about wanting to be there for me and have a relationship with me, even though my father didn't have a relationship. And
Hmm.
the thing is, he kept his word, bro. Like once he came and found us, it's been my big brother ever since. But because of that day and him rapping the first day that I was around him, and and me just being enamored by just him and his lifestyle and his car and his story and the stories about my dad, like everything that had to do with my big brother impacted me, on a extreme level.
Yeah, man. And it's like yeah, it's crazy how like our stories are kind of similar. My I didn't know my biological dad. I didn't even know about him until
Right.
I was probably like 11 or
Mm,
something. Like I grew up
okay.
with my stepdad. I mean, he's my dad, you know. Like
Hmm.
he grew up with me since I was pretty much still in my mom's belly, you
Right.
know. So like I give him like that's my dad, you know. But I had found out about my real dad and I was like, "Oh shit, like oh you guys are lying to me, whatever blah blah, you know." And
Right.
then and so like, you know, now that I'm older, I realize my parents were 16
Okay.
when they had me. My mom was like 15 turning 16 that year or 16 turning 17, something like that.
Yeah.
And and but yeah, so like now as an adult I can all right, whatever, you know, like we made our peace and stuff, but I was able to like I always wanted a brother, you know,
Yeah.
and so around that time I found out that I'm the oldest, but I had two brothers and I had another sister.
Mm.
So like now me and my older bro not me and my older brother, like the older one,
Hmm.
like he's in Michigan doing music. He at the
Right.
University of Michigan working on his doctorate and shit like that. And then my
Okay.
other brother's doing music and stuff also, but like we didn't know about each other. Like
Right.
we didn't know anything about each other. And honestly, not until like the last maybe like year or two, we've been actually like, you know, opening up to each other and stuff like that. So
Okay.
it's good to it's good to have like that family. Like it's
Yeah.
and you know, just because you know, just because you might not have a dad or something like that, like you know, it's good that you found it, like that father figure
Right.
also with your
Right.
older brother, because
Absolutely.
everybody definitely needs that.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Yeah, and it's similar. Like you said, my mom was 16, maybe 17. So
Mhm.
yeah, bro. It's crazy, man. And then you get
Yeah,
older, you realize like, man, she was just a child
yeah.
trying to trying to figure shit out, man. So it's the judgmental stages that you go through, like
Hmm.
as a young teenager, trying to navigate through life, wondering why your father's not in your life,
Hmm.
asking the wrong questions that feel like the right questions in the moment. Then you get older and you realize, like, man, everybody's just trying to figure this shit out, bro. Nobody's got
Yeah.
the answers.
Yeah, you got to put yourself in people's shoes, man.
Right,
Like that's what we like I didn't or like you also like we didn't do when we were teenagers or we were growing up. Like I didn't know to put like fuck if I found out I had a kid at 16, like
right,
what would I do? You know what I mean? Like,
right,
but we all learn from that stuff, right? We all like if we'll get to that point hopefully
right,
until until something like that happens. But
right.
what other kind of music were you were you listening to any kind of different music before your brother kind of came around, or like were you
Yeah.
already introduced into that hip hop world?
Before my brother came around, it was just like any other kid growing up in the hood, bro. It was just you was hearing hip hop everywhere. You know what I mean? Like it's block parties in the car. My mama was a big music head. She loved hip hop. She loved R&B, old school R&B. So a lot of my early years was more like old school 70s and 80s R&B in the household because I was primarily raised by my mother. But like in the neighborhoods and stuff, it was just rap everywhere, bro. So I like it was just a part of me. That's why it's hard to pinpoint a certain time. It's like it's
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it was just a big part of my life.
Who are some of those early like rappers or hip hop artists that you would that you started, revolving towards? Like I
Right.
remember when I was younger, my like I used to listen to like Eminem, Dr. Dre, 50
Yeah.
Cent, anything that was
Yeah.
like on the TV pretty much.
Right.
But my uncle, he brought Enter the Wu-Tang one time.
Okay.
I
Okay.
was probably like 12 or something like
Right.
that. He's
Right.
like, bro, he's only like 4 years older than me. He's like, dude,
Right.
you have to listen to this. You have
Right.
to listen to this. I put it on, Bring the Ruckus comes out, man, and fucking, oh my God. I was like, oh, damn. So I started listening to like other 90s stuff, freaking RZA killing it on that song.
Right.
Like, and it's just, but that's like, so I listened to that whole album and I just love that album, but I kind of stayed in that vibe. Who are
Right.
some, yeah, who are some that you would listen to when you were younger?
Um, as far as me just listening, it's a list of maybe 10 to 15. Um, Guys like LL Cool J was a big one. DMX, Eminem, Biggie, Pac, um, Busta Rhymes was a massive one for me. But as far as like what directly translated into me wanting to rap outside of like my brother
Hmm.
was 100% Life After Death, from Biggie. So I used to listen to that album top to bottom every single day. And this was before I rapped. And just hearing his words and his storytelling and the way that he could just it was like you was watching a movie while listening to his words.
Yeah.
Me at 12, 13 years old experiencing that, it felt like magic to me. I couldn't believe that I could hear something and visualize it every step of the way as he's talking, as he's rapping those lyrics. And it fascinated the hell out of me, bro. But crazy story about that too. My sister might get mad about this, but I listened to that CD so much every single day that my sister got so sick of that shit that it started an argument between us. And then the argument ends with her going into my radio and taking the CD out and fucking stomping on it, bro. She stomped on the fucking CD, dog.
That's crazy.
She stomped on it. I just dropped to my knees. I'm crying.
Yeah.
My sister's like, "What? Like you crying over a CD?" And I'm talking about like devastated, bro. So
Yeah.
devastated. And then it was probably about 4 days later that my brother showed up. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, man. So this was all in the same time period. So I hadn't decided to rap yet, but I think that's what sparked it.
Yeah.
That Life After Death CD and hearing him rap and seeing what he could do with his words. And then, my brother coming less than a week later and then having that moment. at school, all within maybe a 10-day time period. So yeah,
That's cool, man. And that's crazy. Like everything happens for. I feel everything happens for a reason, man. Or even if it doesn't happen for a reason, like th there's just so many things that fall into place that I've heard like from other people that I've experienced in my life that, you know, it, either seeds are planted or something, but it's crazy how the world actually like
right,
and how well I mean for me I feel like God has a plan for all of us. I don't
right,
know if you believe or not or if anybody believes out there,
right,
and that's totally fine if you don't, you know.
right,
Whatever you believe in, that's what you believe in, and we're not
right,
here to say what's wrong or what's right.
right,
But that's just how I feel,
right.
and it's just that's why I like listening to these stories, man,
Yeah,
because it kind of opens my eyes too, and kind of like, man, like there really is like something going on out there.
right. It makes you feel like there's a greater plan for sure.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah,
Um, so your brother came along, and so you kind of solidified, like, after a little bit, like, this is what you want to do. You want to be a rapper, you want to be an artist. Um, so do you remember that first time going into, like, maybe either performing for the first, maybe not for the first time, but like one of the first times, like performing in front of a crowd where people come and see you, or
yeah,
maybe like the first time you went into like the studio.
right.
Which one
Yeah.
happened first?
First studio.
Studio.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It was the studio. It was a guy named Fred Dog. Once again, my older brother. He had a homie that he was in a rap group with, and Fred Dog had a studio in his basement. And it was a far ass drive, bro, far as hell. So it was so hard for me to get a ride. But on the times that I could get a ride, I got out there as much as I could, and I was recording and I was cutting grass to pay for my own studio sessions. So I had a business. Like I already had a business at 14, and I was cutting grass all around the neighborhood, and I would take that money to pay for studio time. But I was recording for maybe 2 years before I ever performed.
Do you remember that first time hearing yourself on the
Facts,
recording?
facts, absolutely, absolutely. And I thought it was funny because I was so excited to be in the studio and to be, it felt like step one of my journey. Um, and I was young, but I understood the magnitude of it. But I was so excited to be in there that you could hear me smiling while I was rapping.
Yeah.
It sounded like I was almost laughing while I was rapping on my first song because you could just hear me smiling. And it was so funny because my homies kept getting on my ass about that shit. Like, bro, you clearly just smiling the whole hook, the whole verse. Like, you got to go do that shit over, bro. And I didn't know I was smiling, but once I listened back, I'm like, yeah, facts, clear.
Just hey, excited to be there, man.
Yeah, super
That's
excited, bro.
funny.
14 years old. Come on, bro.
Oh man, damn. And then like listening, like hearing yourself, like I bet that like over not just like over your ears or like in your ears, like over your voice, like
Right.
did you feel like you sounded different when you listened to yourself? And did you at that time maybe like spit a different way because you didn't like the way you sounded, or was it just like, damn, that's me right there kind of thing?
My voice was always a challenge for me because um I always noticed that all of the big rappers had real distinctive voices that like as soon as you heard an ad lib from them, you knew it was them.
Hmm.
Like if a song was playing and that song had a Slim Shady ad lib, you would know it was Slim Shady instantly.
Yeah.
Um,
No doubt.
my voice didn't seem as distinctive to me, which
Hmm.
is so funny because now you fast forward it, and I think that's probably the most talked about thing as far as amongst my fans when it
Hmm.
comes to me is my voice. And like my fans say, oh, his voice is a cheat code. It's like got the best rap voice ever. And I get a lot of that. And it's crazy because I worked on it for years, bro.
Mm.
And and so many people think everything is so natural. Like, oh, he was born with this, or like I talk to other rappers where it's like, bro, like if my rap voice was like yours, like I'll be big too. And it's just like, bro, it didn't happen that way. Like my
Mm.
voice was a big problem for me for years because it was extremely deep. Even more when I was younger. I worked on getting my voice just a little bit higher pitched. When I was younger, it was extremely deep and I didn't know how to control it. So I couldn't really display much emotion in my music. It was like one almost monotone type of vibe through everything. You know what I mean? And I didn't really have a
Yeah.
lot of range. I couldn't match a lot of instrumentation with my voice. So if it was a lot of higher pitched sounds, I didn't know how to rap on those beats. And it took years for me doing exercises with my voice and playing with pitch and tone and learning how to sing a little bit for me to get to this point now. And now every time I get a comment about my voice, it's just like, man, that was fucking 12 years of work and they calling it a cheat code. Like, what kind of cheat code?
Yeah, for sure. And you don't really think about that as like somebody from the outside looking in, like, or like even listening in, like you don't think about, you just think that's funny that you say that because yeah, like you just think, damn, like man, this guy has a natural voice, or anybody like you
Right,
think, damn, that's a good natural voice or whatever. But like you said, like I wouldn't have thought, you know, about like vocal exercises and stuff like that. But I guess it's the same because you're using your voice like all the time, so you don't want to, and your vocal cords all the time. So
yeah,
doing, I didn't know about like those exercises, like vocal exercises until I was
right.
already like later in life, and I was like, fuck, like I didn't really think about that. Like, um, but what kind of when did you start using like vocal exercises? Or yeah.
Um, I think I was probably 17. So like 3 years into it, I started going to these open mic nights and there was a lot of different like artists. You know, you had poets, rappers, singers, um, you had just like musicians as far as people that play instruments.
Mhm.
And that's where I got my start with performing too, was at those open mic nights. And I ran into a guy, I can't remember his name, which is crazy, but he was he had a big influence on me, man. And he was singing, playing the guitar. And you know, me and my homie had a rap group and we rapped and afterwards he was like, man, I loved what you guys just did. Like I got a little bit of recording equipment. I could come over to your house and we can record some songs. And he was a grown man. I was probably 16. He was maybe like 30. And he came over, he brought a bunch of stuff over, you know, hooked it up in the living room and we were working on music. But I was asking him like, your singing voice, like when did you find out that you could sing? And he was like, I worked on it. It wasn't natural for me. I was good at playing the guitar. That came a little more naturally than me singing. And he gave me vocal exercises and he helped me find range in my tone and not even so much of singing. A lot of it was just being able to speak at a higher pitch and then go back lower while controlling it and understanding that your voice is an instrument that's like when you're putting your voice on a beat, you're not just talking over the beat, you're adding to the music. So you
Mm.
have to find the tone and the key and the pitch. And you got to make sure that you're not clashing with the music. And, you know, he will work with me on that stuff, bro. He will play certain chords and try to get me to match my tone with it. He would make certain beats and try to get me to match my tone. And then, you know, that was a short time period of maybe 2 or 3 weeks. We kind of lost touch, but that experience followed me and I continued to do that through my career.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And you don't think yeah, you don't think about that either. Like I love how you put it. Your like your voice is an instrument, yet you got to tune that thing,
Right.
right? You have to take care
Absolutely.
of it.
Right.
And but I never thought of it as another like instrument towards like with the beat, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
and and yeah, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, just think about it, like the
Yeah.
essence of music. When you think of music in its simplest form, right? What is music? What is it? What does it represent? Is a better question. So, like in its most purest form, all it does, or what it's supposed to represent, is sound that invokes emotion, right?
Yeah.
So, it was never about words. It was about the way it made you feel. And then that evolutionized and turned into this and that and this and that. But at its essence, it was just about the way it made you feel, right?
Mm.
So as a rapper, the problem that a lot of rappers make, or the mistake that a lot of rappers make, is they clash with the music because they're so focused on what it is that they're saying. And that's important, especially from somebody like me. I consider myself, somebody that takes the lyrics, super seriously. I honed my craft, but
Mm.
music in its purest form was not about words. It was just about those sounds evoking emotion from somebody, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to clash with the essence of what music is. You only want to add to it. So your words are meaningless if they disrupt the rhythm or the vibe and the spirit of the song, right?
Mm.
So it's hard for guys, a lot of rappers, especially rappers that are really like super serious about lyrics. It's about what I say. It's about what I say, which that's important. That is
Mm.
important as a rapper. But what's more important is not disrupting the way that the music makes somebody feel.
Mm.
Like that's the most important thing. It's a feeling, right?
Mm.
That's why you can hear me, you can hear a beat, and that beat can tell you a story without any words on it, right?
Yeah.
Like that can happen a lot. You could just be watching a movie and they'll play an instrument or the instrumental in the background, and it's an emotional moment, right? And that instrumental is telling the story for you.
Hmm.
You can tell what they're feeling, what they're thinking, and why they're thinking it just from the music.
And they don't even have to say anything.
They don't got to say nothing, bro.
Yeah.
You could play a beat for a baby that's 3 months old, and
Hmm.
that baby will try to dance. They don't even know what dancing is. They don't even know the concept of rhythm, but it's something in them. We're so connected to music that it's something in a baby where that baby will try to dance. That's how pure music is. That's how special it is. And that's why for me, my voice and me making sure I'm not disrupting whatever that magical thing is, that's
Hmm.
always been number one for me, bro. Always.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it's funny, like you put it on for a pet, for a dog, a cat, a bird, like a parrot. Like I always see videos of these birds like
Crazy,
dancing
bro.
to music, like these dogs, like whenever
Yeah.
you like they'll test it, like they'll play a song, the dog is moving, they'll turn it off, and the dog will look like, "What are you doing?" You know, like it's not just like it's not just that we're all like it's connected to us, like it's connected to this whole like world, man. Like
Right,
for some reason, and like you were saying, like well, like the music, like it flows through you, and like that's my biggest thing, man. Like of how it makes me feel, how
right,
music, how music makes my body feel, how it gives me like chills. It makes your hair stand up when you listen to a good beat, and
right,
like you said, you don't even have to listen to any like lyrics. Like I used to have a
right.
friend, or he's my friend. I just haven't spoken with him in a while. One of my best friends. He used to play acoustic guitar, and there
Okay.
was a song like we would all get like. we'd all get stoned,
Hmm.
and then at the end of the night, we're all stoned, and
Right.
we're like, "Hey, bro, put on your guitar, like
Right.
play your guitar." And
Yeah.
until times where he would be like, "Oh, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it," but he wanted to do it, you know. Um, so like he would bring out his guitar and he would play for us, man, and it was just like I miss those nights. You know,
Yeah.
I miss those nights where it was just me sitting on the couch, like just like this, and my friend playing, and it just like flowed through you, man.
Right. Absolutely.
And it's amazing how music can do that to you. It's
Right.
so amazing.
It's a
Um,
powerful tool, bro. It is.
yeah,
And that's why I get so nervous when it's used the wrong way, especially in rap. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's when it's used as just a means to an end and it's just about financial gain or, like it's just about clout and publicity. Like when it's in the hands of people that only want to use it in that way, we end up where we are now. And that's why music is, especially hip hop, it's in a crazy place right now, bro. Because it's just a financial vehicle for a lot of people. And
hmm
there's nothing wrong with wanting to get your bread and being a businessman, but like I think like just imagine if the NBA was full of people that couldn't hoop.
hmm
Or if the NFL was full of people that couldn't play football. And soccer was full of people that couldn't play soccer. Like it is going to dilute
hmm
like it's going to dilute it, and that's where we are right now. We got a lot of creative people that are really driven and hardworking, and they use those traits to get ahead in hip hop. But they can't actually rap. They don't actually care about the music.
hmm
They got good enough to get by, but
hmm
it's really just a bunch of hardworking, creative people that found a way to masquerade as rappers and they
yeah.
make a living from it. But could you imagine that in anything else? Like it doesn't exist anywhere else. Like imagine if LeBron James couldn't hoop. Like it's just like you don't get there without being
hmm
able to hoop. But in rap, you can get there if you creative and you can make dope content. You got a story. You come from a certain neighborhood that people are enamored with. You had a certain upbringing that people are interested in, and then you find the right producers with dope beats. You get a couple writers, or you get a couple people to give you some ideas and concepts, and now you got a career. But the longevity is going to be jeopardized because, like, you didn't get in it the way that you needed to get in it in order to sustain it. And that's
hmm
why people are here today and gone tomorrow
Yeah.
and more in hip hop than anywhere else. Because these people was never really in it. It was just like, yo, I'll do anything to get famous. I'll do anything to get some money. This seems like the easiest route. I got a story that people will be interested in. I got an upbringing that people will be interested in. Let's find a way to put this into music and let's see what happens. And you get a
hmm
bunch of rappers that can't rap, that can't make music, that don't really know how to connect to people through music. They know how to connect to you just like personality wise. They might be an intriguing person, or they might have an accent that you like to hear, and just little shit like that where the fans will
Yeah.
just jump on it. And then 2 years later they wonder like, why don't I like this guy anymore? And it's like it's not really his fault that y'all fell for it. And the
hmm
fans don't they don't they're not holding themselves accountable anymore. And it's like y'all fell for this.
Yeah.
He was never pretending to be a great rapper, but you gave him the credit because you liked everything else.
hmm
You'll see him make comments such and such is better than Tupac, and it's like okay, that's a dangerous game that we play, right? Because
Yeah.
now he's got to hold up his end of the boat. It's like this dude can't rap. Like he can't rap, and if you can't rap and you're a rapper, it's gonna catch up to you eventually. There's no way you're gonna be able to just make a 10, 15 year career out of pretending to be something. And that's how we get here. You just got a bunch of hard work. These dudes grind. I've been around a lot of them, bro. They work hard and they are super creative. So it's like you combine that together, you're gonna get something out of it, especially in
Hmm.
rap, but it's the longevity, that's the hard part.
Yeah, man. And then, like you said, like you don't even know about them in like a year or two. Like, there's a lot of people out there, rappers out there that I see on like Instagram, right?
Right.
And that, or even like people are like, "Hey, do you know this person? Do you know this person?" Yeah. Oh yeah, what song? Oh, his Instagram is this.
Hmm.
Like, okay, but what song?
What song? Right.
Ah, but oh, I forgot it, but you could find it, right? You know what I mean? Like, and and it's like, bro, you can't even tell me a song from him. You
Right.
know,
Right.
I know the
They just
name.
like how he talk. They like how he
Yeah,
talks. They like his lifestyle. They like how he dresses and which that's a part of the package. It's a part of the package. But at the end of the day, if you're a rapper and you can't rap, it's gonna catch up to you.
yeah,
Now I don't mean you have to be able to rhyme a million words and have the greatest punchlines. Like that's all subjective and that's taste based. Like some people like that, some people don't. But like you have to be good at what you're selling. You can only decorate it in so many ways before people realize it's just decorated shit.
yeah.
And there's got to be something underneath all of the smoke and mirrors.
When you first start, I mean, you have so much music, bro. You have
Yeah.
so much music on
Right.
Spotify, man. Like, and I like going through it, like you can't find a bad song, bro.
I
Like,
appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
and I can't lie and say that I listened to all of it. You know what I
Right.
mean? There's a
Right.
lot of stuff there, but like I feel like the older going back from like Saturday School series or Black Einstein, you can
Oh,
hear the like the I don't want to say inexperience.
yeah.
I want to
But that's
say
what it
like,
was, though. That's what it
well,
was.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
like you can hear that it's a good voice,
Right.
but as you get older and older and older, the voice is refined and
Absolutely.
and the rhymes are tighter and
Yeah.
like what one of my biggest like one of the songs that I really like is How.
Yeah.
Like that song
Probably my
really
biggest song
really
ever.
hit, man.
Yeah.
Like that one and like Without You.
Yeah.
That one really hit, man. Like when when you go and make songs like that, like how like it seems like you dig really deep, right?
Right.
Like you dig really deep in your story. How
Right.
difficult is it making one of those types of songs like that really hit you like personally? And like how much like do you have I don't want to say anxiety, but like is there like
Right.
a like maybe you I don't want to put this out because
Right.
it's telling too much about me. Like
Right.
what's that process like when you go through one of those like hard-hitting songs?
Man, it's not, I don't, it's not as much pressure for me as it is for a lot of other artists because 75, 80% of my fan base was built off the back of songs like that.
Mm,
So, um, but there's pros and cons to everything. And just being straight up, it's difficult at times because like you got to relive certain moments,
mhm,
right? And you also like you got to face certain realities that other people can put off. And in order for me to tell the story the way that I'm telling it and to be so introspective and to be so upfront and vulnerable, I gotta I gotta venture into places that the average person may not have to venture into if they're not trying to pull creativity out. So it's like it's hard for me to listen to those songs. It's
mm,
not hard for me to create them, but it's hard for me to listen to them. Like How is probably my biggest song that I've ever created in my career. But the only time I listen to How is when I'm performing it.
mm.
So I don't just press play on How. I don't just press play on Without You. But
Hmm.
those songs mean so much to me. And I understand that there's not a lot of rap that is giving you that. So I know it's important for me to go into that bag, but it's also like having to relive certain shit too. And just, not wanting to feel like stuck in that energy because a lot like with How, that was a dark time in my life.
Mm.
And that song did a lot for me. Like it put me in a whole different stratosphere as an artist, but it was still a dark time in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's like
yeah.
I don't want to revisit that all the time. So it's a conflict, man. It is, but with me, it's funny, bro. Like I'm so grateful, and I'm so I would say like I'm a lot more self aware than the average artist because my route has been so much just so unique to me that
Mm.
I've had to face certain truths that a lot of artists haven't had to face. And the hardest truth is realizing that the music business is 80% business and 20% music.
Mm.
And I was the artist that was, oh, the music, and it's gonna work itself out. If I just do this and I do that and I impact people, and you know how many times I've had messages and mail and fan mail and all this, like my music has changed this person's life and done so much for so many people. But then I'll see dudes that's making bullshit and they lapping me, getting bigger than me, shows bigger, streams bigger, everything, and they making bullshit. And the same fans that's telling me that I've done this, this, and this for them would miss my show to go to their show. And it's just like, damn, you the same person that said my music kept you from committing suicide. Like
Mm.
I impacted you at a crazy level, but you missing my show to go to this person's show who has one viral song on TikTok. And that's that reality, which I'm not bitter at all. Like
Hmm.
it's just the reality of it where you realize like had I been thinking more business like just from a marketing standpoint and not just thinking like the music is gonna take me where it needs to take me, like I would be 10 times bigger right now. And in this second half of my career, is me still putting the music first, but understanding how important marketing is, marketing
Hmm.
dollars, packaging, aligning yourself with the right artists, cosigns, and all of the shit that you got to do in the game to get to where you want to go. Because it was guys that I would see that I know personally that wasn't putting a lot of effort into it, but they had $2 million behind them. They had a big investor, or they had a label ready to just swipe the card whenever they needed them to. And I'm seeing these dudes just skyrocket. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But with me, I'm the music, the music, the music, the music, the music, and it it's just more than that, bro. This business is just more than that, and that's the reality of it.
Yeah, man. I've just been in this music game for like just like a few months, man. I've already had a couple like fair share of like shady people, you know,
Right,
and like that are treating it as like you said as a business rather than trying to really maybe uplift their artist or trying to do this like like there's super like backstabbery. I don't know how you would say that, but like
right,
there's that, and then there's like nah, don't do it around this time because then it's gonna conflict with this thing, and it's like yeah, it's not just about the music, and it's crazy that I've kind of learned about that. But when you have your own kind of platform, that's kind of why, or not why I started this, but why
right.
meeting those types of people are why I'm keeping this going
Yeah,
because I
that's
want
fact.
I want my I want my platform and I want whatever people do with me and like the artists that work with me to know that this is a safe place for music, you
Right.
know. and
Right.
that's what it's a safe place for. You know, it's not a safe place. It's not a place to bring um like bitterness. It's not a place to bring shade. It's not a place to bring politics. It's for
Right.
music,
That's
you know.
beautiful. We
And
need more of that, bro. Like everything is about all the messy shit and all the drama and the politics and oh, who is this and who did this and who said what and who voted for who and all that shit. And it's like we need we need places where it's just about the art.
Mhm.
Like we can't control everything. Like some things just are the way that they are, and some things will continue to be the way that they will continue to be. But we can have our opinions and our views on it, and we can fight for things that we want to fight for. But we need a place where we all just relate on the fact that we love hip hop. We love art. We love creativity and self-expression and just being in a position to be able to do that. For you to be in a position to be able to do this and for me to get to tell my story without getting hit with a bunch of Trump questions or a bunch of Biden questions or, like all of that stuff that comes with being an artist now, where it's like, yo, can we just talk about this fucking verse I just dropped last week and the mindset behind that and what I put into it and how I arrived at the point where I got good enough to do what I did. Like sometimes the fans do just want to hear about that.
yeah, yeah. And let's get into that, man. Like when you do go into starting to write, especially now, because how I was saying earlier, you have a bunch, like you have a big library, and there's like a lot of collaboration that you have also, which is, you know, which happens in hip hop and rap artists and stuff like that. Um, how do you get into starting to write starting to write a song? Did it used to start with the lyrics first and now it starts with the beat? Does it, or like is it like the opposite? Like when you're gonna create a song, what's that first like like what's that like?
It used to start with the lyrics more. Like I would just be going through my day and I would be coming up with punchlines and like I'll write down punchlines. I'll write down punchlines. I have a note. Well, back then I used to have like my notepad, my book, and I'll just write punchlines in the book. Like and then those punchlines would turn into 3 or 4 bars, 4 bars, 6 bars, 8 bars. But that was early on in my career. Now it almost always starts with the beat.
Hmm.
Always. It might start with an emotion, like I'm feeling a certain type of way. Uh, I need to express this feeling, unpack it, figure out what it is, and turn it into words. But it's almost always the beat now. Like if I connect with a certain beat, my producers send me something that I get inspired by. That's typically what starts it.
Okay. And so when you're like, how do you know how long a song should be or how long a verse should be? When you're writing maybe like a chorus, how do you know how long that should be? Is there a lot of collaboration with your producer when it comes to that, or is that like all you also?
For me, it's almost never the producer.
Hmm.
Like it's typically me and just a feel. It's like I don't know if it's about how long I've done it, but I think it's more just about how connected I am to it. But I just know.
Hmm.
I just know. I'm one of those artists where I can hear myself outside of me. And a lot of people can't do that. So I can listen to my music as a fan and absorb it like from the perspective of a fan. A lot of people can't do that, bro. Like it's a lot of dudes that are the biggest critics of everybody,
Hmm.
everybody. And then you hear their music and it's like, yo, you could tell everybody else what's wrong with their shit. And you don't hear it with yours. And it's like they're blind to their own music. Like
Hmm.
they can't hear the flaws in their shit, but they can pick it out and point it out in everybody else's. So like with me, like I can listen as a fan. I don't make a song and think every time I make a new song, this is a hit. That's not me. So it's like I can hear it and say, okay, this is what I need to work on. That was kind of choppy. Uh, that I feel like you kept the same flow the whole way through. Maybe you should work on this. Maybe you should work on that. And I can listen to it from the perspective of like a new listener, where it's like this is your first time hearing me. So I want to pack in as much as I possibly can in the first 40 seconds. So I
Mm,
might want to show everything I can do. I might speed the flow up. I might give you two or three punchlines where typically I only would have given one in 40 seconds. Now I'm giving you three just straight punch you in the mouth heaters, you know what I mean? After school is when the lessons start. So even punctuation couldn't question mark. Like I might
mm.
hit them with that as like the second line just because it's like,
Yeah,
yo, whoa, hold on. Wait, his name's Mark. Question. Oh, that was crazy. I might just smack you in the mouth early. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
But it's all based on like it's all based on the feel of it, bro. It really is. So like I don't know if it's a direct science. I just know once you get so connected to something, it's like breathing. And I just
Hmm.
know. I just know, like, okay, I need a punchline right here. Oh, I need a bridge. Oh, I need to go into the hook early right here. I don't need a long verse, or oh, I don't need a hook at all. This is just straight punchlines, flow, rap for fucking 48 bars. So it's like it's all about the feel.
And do you think like for me, I I stumble upon like artist music, and I like it just like I did with yours, right? Like I stumbled upon it. I never heard of Mark Battles, to be honest. And
Okay.
but like listening to some of your songs, I've listened to your songs before.
Right.
I've listened to like some of the songs before, especially with Tory Lanez.
Right.
I've listened to those songs. I saw
Right.
um that you worked also with like Joe Budden. I think I've listened to that song before, like I'm pretty sure I listened to it back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But like because you have like a large library, do you think that maybe that something like that would hurt you as well, or would hurt you not as well, but would hurt you? And or is it just like I'm just I'm pumping out what I pump out, and whatever the
Right.
world gets, that's what they get, or like that's what they find, kind of thing.
Nah, I think I think it's more about packaging than it is about the volume of it. So I
Mm,
think it's more about having a real strategic plan around it. And if you got a real strategic plan around it, the amount of songs won't affect you as much. So
mhm,
a lot of times I didn't have a real strategic plan, and some of it was just me kind of adopting or adapting to the times. So like I came from an era where people was dropping consistently, bro.
mm,
Like so much music. And the harder part was a lot of the dudes that was dropping consistently was on the other side of the hip hop spectrum. So it's like they like music was changing underneath my feet, where it was going from, J. Cole, Kendrick, Drake, Big Crit, guys like that, Big Sean, to like NBA Youngboy, Uzi Vert, Chief Keef. It's a
mm.
big, drastic jump, right?
Yeah.
And you got NBA YoungBoy dropping 15 albums in a year. And you can see that the fans are starting to gravitate towards a different type of artist, right?
Mm,
And this artist is just pumping out shit. And you feeling the pressure of that in the marketplace. But
mm,
it's like the way that I make music, and there's no disrespect to an artist like that, because like that, like although it's a lot different than what I do, I still respect it just as much, right?
mhm.
So it's just not what I do. It's just a different form of what I do. But like the way that I create, it's almost impossible for me to create at the same rate that an NBA young boy could create, right? But the marketplace is telling you got to drop more and you got to find a way to adapt. And in an ideal world, just being straight up, I wouldn't have dropped as much as I dropped if it wasn't the pressure of the business
Mm.
telling me I had to drop to stay relevant,
Yeah.
especially as an independent artist where I'm not on the radio, I'm not getting coverage from a lot of these big blog sites, I'm not on the award shows, I'm not in your face unless I'm putting myself in your face.
Mm.
So I had to be consistent. And then you got the pressure of being an independent artist and needing to tour. And it's like touring off of old music is hard to do. A lot of times the new energy comes from you dropping a new project and the fans get excited to see you again. So the business kind of forces certain decisions, bro. And it's like, it
Mm.
ain't always fun. It's like, damn, I really wish I could just work on this album for 6 more months.
But I
But
gotta drop it
I
now.
can drop this shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, for sure. I get it, man. And yeah, like, and it's cool listening to like experiences like this because as somebody on the outside, you don't think about this stuff, man.
Right.
Like
Right.
you don't think about like with the business side like that. Like I never like I just kind of saw it like, man, he has a lot of music. But
Right.
like you're right, like you like especially like between like 2008 and like 2017, 18 or
Right.
something. There
Right.
was a huge like
Right.
gap in creativity, not gap, but like jump in creativity between the
Right.
the last rapper and the one that was after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like yeah, you don't think about that.
Right.
And but one of the last questions I'd like to ask
Mhm.
is what has been music's or what has been music's ultimate purpose in your life?
Mm. Man, when you've been in it as long as I have, bro, shit, how long have I been doing this shit? Almost 20 years. If you think of when I first started rapping. So like, yeah. So almost 20 years. Like when you've been in it this long, like any 20-year relationship, like bro, you fall in and out of love with this shit.
Mm.
And like I've had times where I've been so stressed out in this business that I almost regret it ever even attempting to do what I'm doing. And then I've had times where I felt so free and so liberated and so empowered where that it's like I couldn't imagine me doing anything else, you know? And once you go through those battles, especially when you feel like you got everything that you need, you check all the boxes, but you don't realize that like it's not about just checking the boxes. It's the circumstances. It's about certain morals that you might have to be willing to part ways with. It's certain relationships that you got to build, you know, and a lot of this shit is networking. And a lot of this shit is like being willing to give up something. And people talk about it in a dark way, and I don't necessarily mean it in a dark way. I just mean like a lot of these dudes don't have relationships with their family. You know what I mean? A lot of these dudes they don't know who they are anymore. And it's like, are you willing to give up everything that you think you are for everything that you want to be? And it's certain doors that I wasn't willing to walk in. And I haven't seen the super dark shit that people talk about. And I've been in this business for a while and I've been around all these top dudes. The super dark shit that people bring up, I ain't experienced it. But I've been in rooms with guys that I look up to who have totally lost themselves in this shit.
Mm.
And they live in an alternate universe now mentally where it's like they've given up so much and they drank themselves to death. And by 10 a.m., 11 a.m., they already pouring a drink just to get through the day. But then you got dudes that's like on the complete opposite end of it that found a way to live a really positive life from this shit. Like my homie Currency is probably the happiest dude you'll ever meet in your life. And like, you know, he's not the biggest rapper in the world, but he's got a real solid fan base. They're gonna
Mm.
show up for him when he go on tour. They're gonna show up for him when he drop an album. He's got all of the relationships in the industry. Some of his best friends is superstars. So like, and you go around him, bro, you would never see him in a bad mood. He's
Mm.
always happy and just grateful to be living the life that he's living. It's like him and like my homie Futuristic. Like it's a lot of people that found a way to really like make it a positive. But it's a balance, it's there's rain and sun, there's light and dark. Like there's a lot of opposite, there's an opposite end to both of those things, bro. So I've seen guys where it's like, yo, whatever it is that this shit took from you, I'm not willing to give
Mm.
because you don't even seem human anymore. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Yeah,
So it could take a lot out of you, bro. It really can. But like I said, on the other end, I've seen a lot of people create really good lives for themselves and they live exactly how they dream to live.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, the last question I like to ask, Mark,
Yeah.
what is Mark Battle's message to the world?
Hmm. I like that question, man. Um, if this was 5 years ago, you would get a long answer, super deep ass, like introspective answer. And now it's not that. So I look at the world a lot differently than I did 5 years ago. I feel like life is a lot more simple than we would like for it to be. I think we want it to be more than what it is. And I think life is literally just about love and relationships and enjoying the time that you have with the people that care for you and the that you care for. I really think that's life, and of course, like if you're a person that believes in God, like I do, like you do, like that's what God represents is love and harmony and and connection. And I think that's all it is, man. Because once you've seen the stuff I've seen, you've been in the spotlight and you've experienced the things that I've experienced. Like none of it measures up to just a hug from your mom or just a laugh with your family, like being able to invite your family out to your concert and them saying, Mark, I'm proud of you.
Mm.
Like nothing measures up to that, bro. So I think life is just about relationships. That's it. Like just enjoy the people that want to ride this shit out with you because it's hard as fuck, bro. It's hard. And it's like, yo, you need somebody that's willing to go back to back with you and fight this shit out, because happiness is not really a thing, right? But happy moments are. And if you can get as many happy moments as you possibly can conjure up, that's going to get you as close to living a happy life as possible. And you're going to have rough days. We all do. You're going to have a great week. And on, Monday through Saturday, everything was great. Then on Sunday, you lose somebody. You lose an
Mm.
aunt, a grandmother, a cousin, a friend, and it's like, man, I didn't see that coming. But life is always going to have that balance. But you can fight back by trying to create as many happy moments as possible and just really trying your best to enjoy the time you got. And that's why when you ask me how I'm doing, it's like, bro, I'm grateful and I'll always be grateful.
Yeah, people always kind of laugh when I say we're alive because when somebody asks me how I'm doing or like how'd you wake up today and like I woke up
Right.
or hey man like hey I'm alive or
Yeah.
hey I'm alive, my kids are alive, my
Right.
wife's alive, what do I have to be mad about, and
Absolutely.
but you gotta find that, you gotta find the thing in the world that helps you do that. Like for me
Right.
it was like Facebook videos, to be honest,
Yeah.
talking about motivation and positivity.
Mm.
That really helped me in a really dark time where all people
Right.
wanted to do was shove pills down your throat,
Right.
but it's not that. It's just you gotta find that thing and
Absolutely.
just stay positive. Like if the negative happens, you know, it's okay to feel sad. It's okay
Right.
to mourn. It's okay to grieve,
Right.
but it's not okay to stay there.
Right.
And
That's a
and
fact.
if like it's not because it'll just eat at your soul, you know. It'll eat at your mind, and it'll
Right.
eat at the relationships around you if you're not
Absolutely.
careful, you
Yep.
know. And that's the thing. That's the power of positivity is it's infectious. Or yeah, it's like yeah, it's like if all you got to do is like smile at somebody, you
Right.
know, and it could change their whole day. You know,
Facts.
just staying in that light, staying in that positive mode, getting a negative, putting something in your head, well, that sucks, but
Right.
this will come out of it. Or
Absolutely.
what did I learn? Like being
Yeah.
open to things like that. So, yeah,
Right.
man, I think that's beautiful. And like relationships, like we're not anywhere without any help.
Yeah.
Like nobody has done no literally nobody has done anything but by themselves. When I hear somebody say I did it all myself, I'm
Right.
like, fuck off. No, you
Yeah.
didn't. You know, like you didn't. You
Oh,
had
right.
everybody had so much help
Yeah.
becoming successful. It wasn't all you. So I just kind of
Right.
like, man, like those types of people, like, man, whatever,
Right.
dude, you know, like
Right.
that's just selfish, you know, because
Absolutely.
I'm here right now because of my wife, bro.
Right.
I'm on this earth right now because of my wife.
Right.
Because at the time that I met her, it was just she fucking flipped my world upside down, bro. It's crazy. So like it think like of course we've had our bad patches just like
Right.
every other couple and every other relationship. But
Right.
where one wants to stay down, there has to be one that wants to rise up.
Mm.
And you
Yeah.
know, that's just that's where I'm at right now. Like
Right.
fuck all the noise. Like you
Right.
rise up because
Right.
you're the only one that could do it. You're the one that could put in the work, but you have to be able to find people with the avenues that like you know like open up for you.
Right.
Um, but yeah, man, I again, Mark, I really thank you. I
Yeah.
really thank you for coming on the show. It was a
Absolutely.
blast. I had a great conversation, man. Where can everybody find your music?
Yeah. Just anywhere, any streaming platforms, you just search Mark Battles. If you want to find me on social media, it's Mark Battles 317. I'm working on my album right now. I took a break from the album. It's probably 80% done, but I took a break from the album to make an EP. I got inspired by some things musically, and I talk about it in the album. And the album's got a lot of big artists on it, and it's a lot of like businessy stuff that's got to get figured out with the album. So instead of stressing myself out with that, like I'm like, let me put this EP together, and I'll probably be dropping that. I would say in less than a month, and then we'll get back to the album. But I got some dope things coming up, man.
Hell yeah, man! I can't wait to see him.
Yeah,
Guys, one of the best lyricists that I've ever listened to be honest, Mark Battles. Thank you so much for coming on the show and helping us out and
right,
following me along my new musical journey as well. I really
right.
appreciate this. And how we say at the end, everybody, remember, be safe, be
Yeah,
great, and remember we share because we care.
yeah.
Peace.
That's love. All right.